Well, obviously it's an exciting time, a project that's been a long time in the making. I think that overall on the site, we've been associated with it as developer for 10 years. And the exciting element is that now we've just gone in for planning, we've just had it registered, and it's a big moment for us. We're now obviously in the planning process. When you're thinking about a development project, obviously the time it goes into, it's such a big project, such an important project, and I've always said that the responsibility that we carry in this project is enormous with its location. The fact that we're being bold and brave, and we believe in what we're doing. And from our point of view, we believe it's going to be, I think we said, one of the biggest statements in architecture in modern times in Manchester, and I don't hold back in saying that. I think that from our point of view, we want it to be an internationally renowned development. Obviously Manchester has become an international city, particularly in this last 15 to 20 years, and we feel as though this development will, in terms of sort of its resonance internationally, will be really important with overseas investment, local participation as well, and all the excitement that it brings in respect of the hotel, the residential element of it, the commercial space, the public spaces, which we're, if you like, equally as excited about as the buildings itself. It's it's really exciting times, and with a little bit of anxiety, obviously, when you're in a planning process, but obviously excitement as well, that we know that the conclusion of a certain chapter in this process is coming to an end. I think that number of things. I think that we've had a city council that have been entrepreneurial, that have been ahead of the times, and I think of the northern cities, and it's not being disrespectful to other northern cities, I think that we're a step ahead, maybe even more than one step ahead. I think I'm probably being kind. I think that pre-recession we pushed forward enormously as a city. I think that obviously universities, sport, culture, technology, all different aspects of the city I think are fantastic. Obviously I'm a little bit biased coming from the city and being around here for a long time, but I just feel as though that it took a bold approach in the last 15, 20 years. I think it took other, if you like, northern cities time to catch up. I think that, I hate to say it, but attracting obviously international investment into Manchester City opened up the doors to others to think that actually it was an appealing city, not just, if you like, locally, for people around Manchester who've always loved the city, but for also people to come and think that they could invest outside of London. And I think from our point of view, we've embraced that as well. I do believe that now it's becoming more of a global city. Whenever I go around the world now, Manchester is very much at the forefront. I think the plane routes, the airline routes in terms of China, Singapore and others have now opened up, Hong Kong as well. So I think that just generally it's transformed itself and been entrepreneurial, and I think that's, the City Council take a lot of credit for that, the private sector, public sector coming together and working very strong as a partnership, which I think is quite unique. And obviously with, London is London, it'll always be that way, it'll always be, if you like, the most prominent economic zone in the country, but I think Manchester now is certainly, if you like, an alternative to people, and I think people are looking at us a lot more seriously. I think that it's exciting times for the city. So in terms of MIPIM, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I think that the stigma attached to MIPIM initially, sort of 10, 12 years ago when I first entered into sort of building services at the time, was that it was a little bit of a jolly up, that maybe there wasn't a lot of, if you like, outcome. But I have to say, my first impressions of it 3-4 years ago was that that was the absolute opposite. It was a very professional event, well run, dedicated people. I think people in the property sector, yeah, of course they socialised in the evening, but during the day did a lot of hard work, cementing relationships, making new relationships, and actually pushing each other forward to try and do better next year, I think, as well. So from my point of view, Manchester's always had a strong presence at MIPIM, its biggest ever presence this year. I think ultimately as well, what Manchester has always believed in MIPIM, if you think about when the recession hit and other northern cities in particular, cities that maybe were cutting budgets, if you like, exited the event for obviously, if you like, economic reasons, Manchester maintained its presence and pushed through it and believed in, if you like, development, believed in the fact that you need growth and the fact that the property market reveals construction jobs, it reveals new opportunities for buildings when they're built, and it to me is as an event that I think is now become a no-miss event for myself and also for, if you like, our partners and related people who work with us. We've actually, like I say, over the years, we've probably increased our presence in terms of wanting to do more and more. I think in terms of GG Hospitality, obviously St Michael's is sponsoring the event in the evening, but obviously we're quite exciting times for our hospitality company, and there is hospitality elements to MIPIM in respect to food and drink. We've got an outstanding hospitality company that's, you know, delivering wonderful service to obviously people in Manchester and people who come from outside of the city. So I think it's something it's a bit of a celebration for our company to be able to showcase off what we can do, not just in the property market, but also in terms of hospitality, hotels, food and beverage. We've signed up in the last 6 months Michael O'Hare, who's a really incredible addition to our company. We're lucky to have him. He's already opened one project already. We're opening 2 or 3 more in the next sort of 6 to 8 months. And we just feel as though it's a good event to support not just MIPIM and a property exhibition, but display, if you like, you know, what GG Hospitality can do and give people a taste of that. I think the benefits are, if you like I said, I think before, maintaining the relationships that you've already established and cementing them, and I think, you know, creating new relationships, promotion, obviously, of your projects. I think listening to other ideas and speaking to other people and gaining, if you like, information and knowledge, which I think is always important. And the reality of it is we all come back here that, you know, we need a thriving property market in Manchester, we need a thriving construction market, we need to create more jobs, we need to create more opportunities, more space, more public spaces, all the things that, if you like, the private and public sector have done so well in the last 20 years. And MIPIM is, you know, is a collection of people who are largely responsible for that in terms of development, property management, consultancy services. So from that point of view, my view is that it's the private and public sector coming together to establish what would be brand new opportunities for employability in Manchester, new developments, taking the city forward. And that to me is the outcome of MIPIM each year, is that I think it pushes people on to do bigger and better things. And Manchester, if you like, has always had that, if you like, entrepreneurial and forward-thinking attitude. How the city's improved. I don't think anybody who's been around the city for the last 15, 20 years cannot see the huge improvements in every single way. The fact that the city is now got incredible numbers of visitors internationally, that locally I think of, you know, how people see the city. I mean, 20 years ago, if you'd said to me that I would want to live in Manchester, 25 years ago, I would want to live in Manchester, I would say, no chance. Now I can't wait to get into the city every single day. And that's not because I didn't love Manchester 25 years ago, I did, but it wasn't really what would be, you see, as a welcoming, thriving, internationally recognised city. Now it's just completely transformed. The work that's been done in terms of the last 20 years to transform this city and make it so much more appealing in every single way, acceptable, accessible, inviting is brilliant. And, you know, to me, I've never been more excited about this, you know, our city and where it is, and think ultimately, you know, that's shared by not just local people, but I think internationally as well.